Do you know what time it is? Yeah, I do. It's tag team time. Hooah! What's going on, guys? Mr. Waffles here, and we're going to be talking about the Blue Tag Team Mastery. So, got my two little pals right over here. We got Tank. Say hi, Tank.
Yo, yo, yo.
And we got Avalanche. So, we're going to be talking about the Blue Tag Team Mastery and the cards that are previewed so far, as well as the Goku stack. So, for those of you guys don't know, the Blue Tag Team Mastery says during your first opponent's turn, you get to search your life deck for an ally placed at 3 power stages above 0. And while you control only one ally, just one, it can't be destroyed by critical damage effects. And it has a power where you can take an ally from the banish zone and rejuvenate it. So this mastery, obviously everyone's thinking, oh, Blue Ginyu is, going to be meta again. Same thing, because before we saw Android 17 in the van and how it was banishing allies, and we kind of wondered how Ginyu would deal with it. And this mastery lets you rejuvenate it, and then you can search it out with Ginyu again. Again, for those who really don't know, this mastery is only a one-time use effect in terms of searching an ally, because it's your opponent's first turn. After that, that's pretty much it. So it doesn't seem like it's all too broken as people make it out to be. Again, you just get the ally if it gets shuffled back in, or like blue back break or banished or something like that. That's pretty much it. It could even be destroyed, because I'm pretty sure the mastery says it can't be destroyed by critical damage effects. So there's some cards like Blue Barriers that destroy an ally, Saiyan Surprise, things like that. I don't really think is anything to get too worried about. I think it's just a good toolbox engine for sure. I think it's just depending on the matchup. If you're in the mirror, especially the hero mirror, you can get Roshi, but it just shuts off, your opponent's ability to use that effect. But you can still grab allies if you get rid of the Roshi and stuff like that. So I don't think it's all too problematic at all. What decks I think can really utilize it? I think it'll give a boost to some villain decks, because it allows you to search out Ginyu if you're not using Ginyu, so you can see their hand right away, which is really good. Or Nappa, depending on the matchup, so you can shut down the allies. So I think it gives a lot of versatility. That way you don't have to draw overpowering attack or something like that to really search out your allies. You could at least guarantee one free ally. I think what comes to mind for me would be they had Nappa, with the Vegeta ally. You can get Nappa. If you have Nappa as your MP, you can get the Turles ally as well, or something like that. So a lot of things get to open up. And again, because of its one-time use, it balances it out. I don't think it's that, problematic or something too crazy for sure. We're just going to look at some of the blue cards. Blue has some interesting stuff, which is really good, because it has some ally stuff as well as some anger stuff to give support to the blue protective mastery, which I like that Panini's doing, where it's not so much giving with the new mastery and all the cards associated with that mastery and kind of forgetting about the old one. It still gives some cards with the old mastery some value as well. So going on to it, we're going to check out some of the blue cards here. One of my favorite is, which we'll get into later, is Blue Belly Bash. But we'll check out this first one, which is Blue Energy Focus. This one's an energy attack that costs only one stage. You may raise your opponent's anger 2 levels. If you do, raise your anger 2 levels, 3 life cards, and it has endurance 2. So a good solid card overall. We see a lot of the blue stuff where it raises your opponent's anger. So it actually makes a card like Blue Surprise, which I always loved, because it was an answer to drills and setups all over the place. But its conditions were kind of hard to meet, because your opponent needs to get to 6 anger. With this mastery, your opponent gets to go to 5 anger, so it makes that card, I think, a little bit more viable and easier to get your opponent to try and level up, so you can wipe their board or something like that. I think this card's solid overall. It would be good for another good card for Wheelo and stuff like that, where you're playing Blue Wheelo and you're trying to get to 2 as fast as possible, and instead of Hand Blast, which costs 3, this one has endurance, only costs 1, and you can just level up and it will do 5 life cards, which is really good. Next up, we have Blue Shopping. It's an event. So it says, its power is to prevent all damage from an attack. Your styled attacks deal +2 stages of damage this combat, banish after use. So I guess that'll be obviously for both opponents, both you and your opponent, because it says styled attacks. Um, I mean, I guess it's not really that great because I don't know why you would want your opponent to do an extra 2 stages of damage to you. But I'm not sure if it's supposed to be just your style attacks, but the card's okay. I mean, it prevents, so hit effects will still go off. Not too big of a fan of this card. Next up, we have Blue Awakening Drill. I just hate the way this drill looks. It just looks hideous. Sorry, I just had to get it out there. It just looks like you just like implanted a face and just put like stuff around it and called it a drill. I just can't stand like Android 16 like staring at you like that. It just kind of freaks me out. As well as the colors, it's just everything just clashes. I just hate it. But Blue Awakening Drill is powers to banish a style setup you control to search your discard pile for a style setup and place it into play. Yes, depending on what more style setups we have, it will be a good toolbox engine to search for different style setups and things like that. Well, not search for different style setups, but just to look through your discard pile and see what you want to pick and choose. But you have to get rid of one, so it's not like you're really gaining advantages, just basically netting 0. So then again, if there's a style setup that you are playing in your deck that you want to banish, chances are that all the style setups that you have in your deck you want to use. So I guess we'll see. I guess depending on the moment, if you like have key buildups or blue blockade, like if you want to switch an attack one for a defense one, I can see that. Next card is Blue Belly Bash. This is one of my favorite cards in the set so far, or at least blue styled. Right now I'm trying out Blue Goku. So blue as itself, as you guys know, doesn't have a lot of access to critical damage effects. So besides Blue Fear, so to be able to have a physical attack that could potentially also do a critical damage is pretty cool. Pardon me. So it's a physical attack. The next time you stop an attack this combat, use a critical damage effect. Damage is +2 stages. Hit your setups in play cannot be destroyed or banished. So that's really good. So if you see like your opponent has like radar out or something like that, and you think they might do the ball 4 play to blow up your stuff, at least your setups anyway, you can use use this card if it hits and sticks. They can't get rid of it, so you can make sure that your blockades, your key buildups, your stretch kicks, whatever setups that you have, your dominance and stuff like that are all safe. So it's not the greatest card because it's only +2, so you'd really need an MP with high stages to really use this effect. But just the fact that it can potentially stop your opponent from attacking, because if they attack, and you block it, you get to use a critical damage effect and pretty much swing it in your favor, whatever, if they have a Dragon Ball ally or something like that. So I think that card alone can kind of keep certain decks in check. We also see in the blue style right now, because it's not like the Protective Mastery where you can almost guarantee like a free block every combat. This one you have to be very particular about your the way you block and like how you're building your deck to block, because again, you don't have a card to really just pitch and be safe, and with this one you have to make sure that your ratios are right, that your deck building is on point. I think cards like Blue Head Knock would definitely be staple in this kind of build, because this deck has no real way of dealing with anger. It's more ally based, so you want to make sure that you have cards that deal with anger, like Head Knock, Blue Takedown, things like that. So I think a lot of those lowering anger cards would be very key and crucial in this mastery, just to make up for the lack of anger control. I mean, you do have some cards that like raise your opponent's anger and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be, but it doesn't really like lower it. So you want to make sure that a lot of the cards you can like fit your deck to have some ally tech, for your deck, because that's what your mastery is about. Also to be able to control the anger. So I think Head Knock would definitely be like a staple, and there's no doubt about it. Next card that we have is Blue Wash. So its power is to return all allies in play to their owner's hand, to search your life deck for an ally and play it. So this card has endurance too, which is good, and it's amazing because it allows you to, in the mirror match or something like that, you can bounce the ally and then get your own ally, and do some kind of nifty things. You can get Roshi to stop them from searching, with overpowering attack. Because if you're playing this mastery, you're more than likely playing 3 overpowering attacks. You're probably playing blue battle readiness as well. So to be able to search for Roshi after you kind of move all the allies to the hands is pretty cool. Another reason why this is good is because against Ginyu, if they have like a full field allies, you can just basically clear the board, bring them all to the hand. So whether they're at level 3 or something like that, just all go to the hand, and at the end of combat, they have to get rid of some allies. So this card is very, very powerful. I like it even just as a good ally removal tech, even if you're not playing allies or anything like that. Just a good way just to kind of board wipe the ally field and stuff like that. It's really good card in my opinion. Really, really good. Next up, sorry, we have a couple more ones that were featured on the website, and again we're also going to be talking about the Goku MP. Goku doesn't have a name card in the set, so we're going to pretty much be sticking to like the Kamehamehas and the Kaokens. With blue now, we also have a new setup, Blue Cleanse. So its power is power used after advancing a personality level during combat. Search your life deck for a name card that performs a physical attack and place it into your hand. So this card right here is pretty nutty. Reason being, it's not banished after use. So with that drill, I guess, if you get it out after you level, you can banish like one of your setups to bring this card back and do some cool things. But we got to think what personalities can actually utilize this card, because you have to search for a name card that performs a physical attack. So we have Nappa. We have with Nappa, it's really good because you advance and then your opponent loses stages, and then you can search for like energized charge. With Raditz, it's good because you can search for an Omni block, so Raditz offensive guard. With Nail, which I really like, you can search for dashing attack, so to get that crit, to get rid of whatever you need, or steal a ball, lower anger, whatever the case may be. With Gohan, you have the Power Punch, so with Gohan, even though he's not like the best MP, being able to search for Power Punch to kind of boost you up from 2 to 3 is really helpful. And we also have, I'm trying to think of any more, Trunks. So you can search for Sword Slash, and then blue has a lot of good energies, so you can combo it with that. And I'm pretty sure that might be it for the most part. I think oh well, Android 17 as well, so you can search for the back smash or something like that. So you have a lot of cards at your disposal that this card kind of opens up to search for a physical attack and put it into your hand. Would this card see a lot of play? I think in the right deck it can. I would like it in Nail, Raditz especially, because you can level up pretty fast because your power gives you an anger. So to be able to get an attack from your hand and then kind of play and then do a lot of cool combos is pretty neat. And I think for the most part, certain decks will make it work. I know Nappa likes to stay at 1, so I don't know how much play it would see in Nappa, but the fact that you can search out an ally like Vegeta, you most likely want to stay at 1, so because everything now is doing, your physical attack is doing 5 stages. So, and then also if you at least have this card out, if your opponent ever digs you off of 1, you can search for it. So some cool combos you can do with it, I think. I think it will really shine in like a Nail and a Raditz kind of deck, and possibly Gohan. Next card that we have is Blue Entertaining Drill. So this is probably my favorite drills in the set. I know Orange Freezing Drill, which we'll get to later once the orange stuff is revealed, but Orange Entertaining Drill says whenever one of your effects would raise or lower your opponent's anger, you may choose for your opponent's MP to lose that amount of stages instead. So any cards that says like lower your opponent's anger 2, they lose. You can make them lose 2 stages instead. So the trade-off is basically, which is this drill is like I think a godsend for blue Goku as well as for the blue protective mastery overall. Reason being is you don't want your opponent to level, so your trade-off is you want to make sure that their anger is low enough so that way they wouldn't be leveling up regardless to gain back the stages. So obviously if they're like 4 anger and you have a card that lowers 2, you wouldn't want to have them lose 2 stages, because then they can just use a card to gain 2 anger and then level up and gain the stages anyway. So you want to do it when they're pretty much at like low anger, so that way you can just kind of focus on the stages. So I think I'll definitely be putting this in my blue Goku deck. This with lift and drill. So anytime you, like, let's say if you play an attack that lowers your opponent's anger 1, what would happen is, and they stop it, they will also lose another anger. So you play like, let's say blue rejection or blue double blast, for example, lower your opponent's anger 2. So instead you have them lose 2 stages. If they stop it, they lose their anger. They lower their anger 1 because of lift and drill, which in turn you can make them just lose that stage. So they can potentially just keep losing stages even when you attack, which is good. So cards like blue trap strike would be really good because you can manipulate the anger, so you can like lower their anger or even raise it, have them lose a stage, then do the damage, and then just go off from there. I'm not sure if they have 0 stages, what they just lose life cards. Not too sure with that ruling, but I think this drill is really good, especially with villains, because they have blue overpowering drill. So anytime you stop an attack, you get to raise or lower a player's anger 1 level, and in turn you can make them lose a stage. So you can raise your anger, raise their anger, and then have them lose a stage, and then lower it with some stuff. So it's a lot of cool things that this drill really opens up with, which I'm really excited for. Next up, blue face grab. So this card works really well with the drill that we just mentioned. Reason being, it's a physical attack. Whenever one of your effects causes a personality to lose stages this combat, double that amount. Damage is 6 stages, 6 minus X stages. X is your opponent's current anger level. So again, in blue Goku, I think I'll definitely be playing this card. It does flat 6, so even if Goku's at 0, it still will just do 6, depending on their anger, of course. At the same time, if you have this and a drill out, what can happen is, you play this card and then use a card to like lower anger. So blue leaping kick will be amazing because you discard a card from your hand, lower their anger 1, so they'll lose 2 stages, and then you do the damage, and then do it again, so lose another 2 stages, and then hit for more damage. So there's a lot of possibilities with this card. And just overall, it could be a potential flat 6, kind of like how blue slash is. So I could see this card seeing some play in the right type of decks. I think I'll definitely try it out in blue Goku for sure, because that drill is just amazing, just bonkers. Next card we have is blue eye lasers. So it's an energy combat card costing 2 stages. Raise your opponent's anger 2 levels. If your opponent advances a personality level with this card, this attack stays on the table to be used again, or stays in play to be used again the second time. It's 5 life cards, so not a bad card. Again, if you're trying to like edge for damage, it's good against like certain type of decks as well, because like blue Krillin likes to stay at, black Krillin, San Diego Comic-Con likes to stay at 1, so to be able to try and raise them up would be very helpful. Again, this card works really well with that drill that we saw, because they can lose 2 stages. At the same time, works really well with the blue mastery, blue tag team mastery, just because instead of trying to have them reach 6 anger, they can just reach 5. So it's not as much work you have to do to pretty much get these effects going. Do you want them to raise a personnel level? It's up to you. If you want to try and do 2 energy attacks for 5, depending on the game state, you might want to. If they have a bunch of drills, you might want to just level them up so you can blow up all their drills. So this card, just like blue surprise, takes advantage of your opponent having anger. That's why I think I can see some kind of blue Willow raise your opponent's anger deck kind of happen, just because you have blue floating beam, which I could think would see more play. if someone makes a deck around this, just because you raise your anger one and you may raise your opponent's anger one. If their anger is 4 more, this attack can't be stopped. So a bunch of cards like that can definitely be deadly. So we'll see what happens in the future. Now we're gonna go into the Goku stack. So Goku's levels are all related to for the most part, allies, as you can tell, because he's paired with the Blue Mastery. So Goku level 1 is a power physical attack. You may return an ally you control to the owner's hand. Damages 2 life cards. Hit at the end of combat. You may search your life deck for an ally and place it on top of your life deck. So just the fact that it's just an attack, 2 life cards, might not seem like much, but it adds on over time because you can just do Goku physical for 2 life cards. Just chip damage is always good damage, because if you can flip like an endurance, like 3 card for 2 life cards, that's a good trade-off. I think his built-in reprimand kind of bounce to the hand ally, I think, is really good with Kami. So now a lot of people are talking about that. Blue Kami, Blue Goku Kami. Basically, you search out Kami and then use Goku to bounce Kami, get a Dragon Ball, and then you play it again and just kind of keep using him. For some people might think it's inconsistent. I think if you build your deck around it, it can probably work. It could be a very defensive build. It's like 3 blue key build-ups, blue position and drill, things like that. Very defensive stasis deck. And just kind of sit at 1 and just keep using Kami and trying to abuse him as much as possible. If he ever gets banished, you can use a Mastery to rejuvenate him, overpower an attack, search him out again, blue back break, shuffle him in, get a Dragon Ball, things like that. Battle readiness, search him out. Blue wash, bounce all the allies, get another Dragon Ball, play an ally. So it's a lot of possibilities that can happen with Blue Goku Kami shenanigans. I know gimmicky decks don't really work, but I think this one could actually be somewhat of a threat. Goku level 2 is all your attacks deal +2 life cards of damage. Power, use when entering combat, choose an ally in play. Players cannot use effects that would cause that ally to leave play. So that also counts for you. So it's a double-edged sword. So if you have back break, you can't choose that ally to shuffle back in. If you play blue barrier, and if you have an ally, at least that ally would stay safe, which is good. So level 2 is okay. Just a +2 life. It's not, you don't really care too much for it. I think there can be something better. Maybe I might use a level 2, which gets a drill or something like that, because that ally to leave play, you don't really care, because with the Mastery you can just rejuvenate it if it gets banished. So that's the only thing that you really care about, especially in blue, is your allies getting banished. You have Lunar Ray, overpowering, battle readiness to really fetch them out from the discard pile. Battle readiness and overpowering can search them out from the deck as well. So you don't really care too much if they go to the discard pile, because the Mastery covers up for the banishment anyway. Level 3 Goku. It's an energy attack. You may search your life deck for or discard pile for an ally and play it. That ally can make actions regardless of your MP's power stage this combat. Damage is 6 life cards. Hit your next attack. This combat is performed by an ally. If the next attack is performed by an ally this combat, it cannot be stopped. So I think it's not bad at all. I mean, 6 life cards. It's kind of like the Goku 3 of the old one, where you can get a setup or drill. This one fetches an ally, so I think that one does 5. This one does 6. They both have a hit effect, so I can see the cool parallels with that, which is awesome. I think for the most part, you mean the hit effect where it says, if your next attack this combat is performed by an ally, it can't be stopped. I think that's pretty huge. So you have an unstoppable attack potentially every turn. It can be pretty deadly. Level 4 says, I'm trying to get to it. Search your life deck, discard pile, or banish zone for an ally and place it into play at its highest power stage. Choose one of your allies in play. For the remainder of combat, that ally can make actions regardless of your MP's power stage, uh, and attacks performed by that ally deal +4 life cards of damage. So it's pretty good because you can search from anywhere, for the ally, um, put at the highest power stage, and then choose one of your allies in play. So you can get the ally, and you don't have to choose the one that you got. You can choose like a different ally, and then for the remainder of that combat, all attacks performed by that ally do an extra +4 life card. So that can be pretty cool and pretty nifty. Um, you know, Getting to level 4, you have the Kaioken access. You can play like Dominance, like Blue Goku Dominance, to get to level 2 and then try and shoot up to 4. So there's a lot of things that can happen, a lot of doors that can open up with this mastery and these cards. Decks like combinations I see with this mastery. We can kind of go through and make like a little list. Obviously Goku with Kami, bouncing Kami and doing some of that stuff. Um, 1 second. And we're back. What's going on, guys? Sorry about that. I had to get the door real quick. So before I left, we were just talking about different MP combinations that work with this mastery. So I'm going to give a list of certain MPs that I think can work really well with this masteries, and I'm just going to break it down into 2 segments, like first heroes and villains, and then more specific MPs. So on the hero side, we have Roshi, we have Kami, we have um, Oolong, we have Yajirobe, all these different guys that we have for the most part. If you run a hero deck, I guess for the most part you can always just get Kami, safe bet, just to rejuvenate. Or Korin, every time you take damage, rejuvenate a card. You have a lot of different combinations for the most part with this. Um, if you're going against Ginyu, you get search for Roshi. If you're going against Namekian, you have Oolong. So all these different things, if you want to slow them down, get Yajirobe. So depending on the matchup, you can always have like an ally for it. So that's like kind of in the general consensus of just hero allies. For villains, you have Frieza, you have Nappa, you have Ginyu, Zarbon, a couple others, but those are the ones that kind of stick out to me the most. So if you're playing this like a regular villain deck that's not those MPs that I listed, you can search for those allies. So if you're playing like Frieza, you can search for Ginyu, see their hand, and you kind of know how to play around it. If you're playing, let's say, like Slug or something like that, like Blue Slug, for example, you can search for like Nappa, shut off setup. So you have a lot of different options that you have. You can always search for Frieza if you're going against a Mechian. So it's like all these different combinations you can have again to be able to toolbox. Search for Garlic. For the modifiable things. So again, depending on the matchup, heroes and villains have access to allies that can combat each matchup. So pick and choose carefully, guys. Um, Now for the specifics, if we look at the hero side, we're just going to go through it. So we have Krillin, which, again, this mastery works really well for allies that have that work with specific MPs. So Krillin has Marin, and I think Marin says like next time like use like critical damage effect or something like that. I think draw a card. I can't remember the exact text, but it works with Krillin if Krillin's your MP, and it does some like you gain the stage every time you use a critical damage effect, and some other stuff like discarding the card. So it has some synergy with that. So you can use Krillin to get Marin, things like that. If you're playing Gohan, again because of this mastery, you don't have that extra block in your hand to, like the Blue Protective Mastery. Gohan's a good substitute because you can get Chi Chi or Piccolo, and it allows you to still have that protection despite not having that mastery. So it kind of makes up for it in a way. So with Gohan, you have the Chi Chi or the Piccolo. With Goku, you can get Chi Chi. You can also get the Vegeta ally, which is amazing, and then obviously the Kami Loop kind of effect. So with Goku, again, if you get Chi Chi, you can at least stop a physical attack. If you get Vegeta, um, you can use his power to bring him to your hand and then use it to stop a physical or energy attack. And if you have Kami, you play out Kami and use Goku's power to bounce it to your hand and then get a Dragon Ball. So you can get ball 6, ball 1, to start things off. So it's a lot of cool things that are pretty much happening with this game and how it's working with these MPs. If you're playing Piccolo, get the Kami again, you get Korin. I forgot what Turtle does, but all these different MPs are now like accessible to us. So it helps us figure out like how we want to tailor our decks and how we want it to function. So these allies will help assist that. Um, any more specific MPs I'm trying to think of? Not so much, but those are three that come to mind. Piccolo, sorry, Gohan, Goku, and Krillin for the most part. And then you can obviously with Piccolo it has synergy with Kami and Korra and stuff like that as well, even though they're not as specific. Um, for the villain side, we have Android 17, we have Ginyu, and we have Nappa. So, with Nappa, you can get Vegeta, so all your physical attacks do an extra two stages of damage. You get Turles, where all your style attacks are like number of Saiyans in play, which is really cool. So you have a lot of different variables in that. Um, in Ginyu, you can search out, like let's say, like Birder, everything's doing stages, and then use Ginyu's effect to search out Jace, and then use Jace's effect. If Ginyu hits, sorry, make sure that Jace can take over combat. So you have a lot of different combinations and stuff. What I like about this mastery with Ginyu is that you can kind of pick and choose. Like let's say if Ginyu attack does hit, you can use the mastery to search out like Raccoon, and then you can get Jace. So then now you can pick and choose like which one you want to use at that given point in time. As opposed to if you just get out like an ally, like one ally, what end up happening is like if you get out Jace, they'll probably block it so Jace isn't active. But at least now, like with the mastery, you can already just get out Jace. So let's say if you're ever um, at like one above zero or at zero, now you can have Jace already there to take over instead of trying to search for him and do that. It also helps against physical decks too, because now you have two allies. So let's say if you're just having using the regular mastery and you get out, let's say Jace or something like that, and they use a card to get rid of it. Now you're going to be stage locked, and it's going to be harder for you to catch up. Now with this mastery, you already have two allies, so if one goes away, you have a backup plan. Again, with going back to Nappa, it's really cool because you can also use this mastery as a bait kind of uh, ally mastery. So what I mean by that is you can, instead of getting Vegeta, you can get like Turles and save Vegeta for later or something like that. So it's a lot of good ways to kind of utilize this mastery for the most part. Um, like Blue Raditz, you have Nappa, Vegeta, and Turles. So you have that, so you can search for like Turles or Nappa. Maybe Nappa to probably slow them down. Overpower attack for Vegeta, Turles, and just kind of like lay the beats and stuff. Like you use Raditz's power to search for, to get like a good attack or a good block or whatever you might need in the meantime. So a lot of cool things to be functioning with this mastery. Even with Blue Raditz ally, you have that setup where if you advance a level in combat, you can search for named cards, so you can search for offensive guards. So a lot of things that can really happen with this mastery. And then with 17, you can search for 18, 19 or 20. 18 gives you an extra attack, so you can discard a dead card, and then do 2 life cards. 17 makes sure that all your attacks, I think, are unpreventable. But if it leaves play, all androids lose 3 stages. Now, we don't know what 19 does yet, but it's just all these different things that are coming out of the woodwork. So I'm pretty excited for the most part with this. And I see a lot of cards can come back, like Blue Farewell, shuffle an ally into your deck. All attacks are stopped for remainder combat, so it's like an extra time. So I can see that card probably being in almost any blue deck for the most part. That's not aggressive. So if you're like running blue Kami, Goku blue with Kami, you can shuffle back to Kami, get a ball, and make sure that that you're pretty much safe for the combat. So it's like another time. Blue Happiness is another one. So there's a lot of different things that are happening with this game. I'm pretty excited for it. Hope you guys are too. And what combinations do you guys think would really work? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm pretty excited for this set and the matches and everything to come out with. So until next time, Z Warriors, sign out. We got Avalanche and Tank over here. They're gonna be working on the Blue Tag Team Mastery, and then we got Raph with his Red Ruthless. So these guys are crazy. So till next time, Z Warriors, Mr. Waffles out.